I think what Robert does is unique. He combines a sort of classic sensibility, a sense of scale and melody and atmosphere, with a very cool modern edge. On top of that, Robert is also a thoroughly decent guy. You couldn't work with a better person. Phenomenally hardworking, terrific attention to detail. Basically, I think, in my opinion, he's the most talented composer working in movies today.
Next up, we've got Rob Duncan. Robert has composed original music for award-winning television. He's looking to get into composing more films. He's currently writing the original music for Castle and the Chicago Code. He recently scored the feature film entitled. The other credits include Buffy the Vampire Slayer, True Calling, Terriers, The Unit, the feature film Shattered, starring Pierce Brosnan, and Into the Blue to the Reef. Robert Duncan.
Rob, you've done TV and film, and getting to that question again, do you find that you do different things for TV and film?
Ideally, no, but then there are some realities to television. Just a funny story. Ideally, I just want to write the emotion and do my job as best as I can, but sometimes the realities are that you've got to keep the audience engaged. And when I was working on Castle, it followed Dancing with the Stars. And so you're going from a fun dancing show to a dead body rolling around in a washing machine, and then we're losing people. I wonder why. So I was instructed to come up with music that would kind of keep the dancing vibe going from the previous show to keep the ratings up. And the strangest phone call I've ever received was, "Hey Rob, we're on episode 8. Do you have any upbeat child abduction music?" I was like, "Would you repeat that question?" They're like, "I know, I'm sorry, but I don't know what to do." This, you know. Anyway, so yeah, those are some realities that you know, people aren't going to change the channel in the movie theater, so there's a little less. Yeah. I think there's time to indulge in movies, which is one of the reasons why I would love to work more in movies. When I stopped being a bellhop and I got my first job as a composer, well, I kept raised in Canada, got a degree in music. I always thought they should have a placement program, so when you graduated with your fine arts degree, you ended up in a good restaurant. Anyway, through some fluky events, I ended up assisting one of the Canadian composers up there, and was just watering the plants, and ended up 5 years later co-writing shows with him.
So everyone should learn to garden a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Decided to make the move down to Los Angeles, which I think is definitely a good move if you are interested in writing. I think the opportunities here are nowhere else. There were several big breaks. I think in terms of advice for people that are starting out, one thing that I decided early on was to fully commit and basically bet my survival on it. I think that there's a lot of people that say, I want to write music, but I've got you know, something else paying the rent. At one point, I made the leap and said, I'm going to be either a starving composer or get paid for it. And my survival instincts then were helping me achieve what I wanted to do. And I think that was one little bit of advice. I consider a key point for me was the ASCAP Film Score and Workshop, which is an absolutely wonderful experience that was kind of a crash course in Hollywood for a dude from Canada. And it sort of let me hit the ground running. Shortly thereafter, I got my first real big break was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I got onto season 7 just as it was wrapping up, which was a real treat. Can I just say, you know, music is so abstract. I think a lot of people we work for may not realize how limited their definition of what good score is, and I think part of being versatile or agile in your career is being open to or trying to figure out what somebody else's definition of good score is.